Show at 205-342-9904. 205-342-9904 will get you in the conversation on the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. I want to remind you that we have great sponsor making things right for you for Valentine's. So Be My Valentine promotion presented by Stephanie's Flowers. Stephanie's Flowers located at 514 Hargrove Road. You can stop by there in person and see all of the great options, or a little easier, shop from home, stephaniesflowers.com. They can help you with any of your needs when you need to show some love or show someone you care, but especially on Valentine's Day. Go by Stephanie's Flowers, University of Alabama. Options available there. They have some great gift baskets as well as great arrangements, floral arrangements there. Stephanie'sFlowers.com. The presenter of the Be My Valentine promotion, and all you need to do to get in on that, you're going to have an opportunity to win that $75 gift card by simply calling in 205-342-9904 and getting in on the score prediction contest that we'll run throughout the contest time frame featuring Alabama basketball. So it's now Arkansas. We're going to be talking about that here in a few minutes. Get your score in for Alabama versus Arkansas, and you'll be listed and have a opportunity, a chance to win the Be My Valentine promotion presented by Stephanie's Flowers. Good morning, Fletch. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, Mark. How are you doing for me?
Doing great, doing great. We got 4 quarters. We have 3-point shot. We talk a little Super Bowl. We have Alabama's running back room. We also teased a little conversation that we may or may not get to today regarding who's the top player coming back amongst the the rising seniors. And not just the guys. It may not be a guy who was eligible to leave. But of the ones that were eligible to leave or that we thought may get drafted, which one's the biggest surprise and which one will have the biggest impact in 20, I almost said 20. You know what you almost said? Take a wild guess.
You said 2019?
No. No way.
You put it off.
Oh, God. I was 2014. Don't ask me how. Don't ask me why. but it happens. You had your senior moment during our production meeting when in the middle of a conversation you just could not remember what you were gonna say. Yeah, well, hey, don't worry about it. You'll be driving somewhere and you go, oh, that's what I was gonna tell Martin this morning. It happens, and so, but 20 from the 2019 class that could have left, that's coming back to 2020, which one's gonna have the biggest impact? But either way, I toss it to you for 4 quarters this morning.
And so we'll get started here. My first question: what is your favorite Super Bowl memory and why?
Wow, favorite Super Bowl memory. I don't know that I have a favorite Super Bowl memory that just jumps out at me. I can tell you I have some favorite things, and it's not because I was necessarily. This is gonna sound really bad and show how much I probably dislike him, but I really did like when what was the kid that caught the pass off the back of his helmet from Eli Manning?
Tyree.
Yeah, Tyree. Yeah, that was, and then the reason that was my favorite was because it put a screeching halt to the 19-0 New England Patriots a moment. I guess this is Super Bowl. I really have never, other than when I was a little kid, and I don't remember those memories. I really haven't had a team. I was a Dallas Cowboy guy growing up, and so I remember them winning a couple, but I wasn't a big fan. And then since then, I really had just kind of watched the Super Bowl for the sake of watching it. Now, had the Atlanta Falcons won, held on, I could probably tell you least favorite. Can I tell you my least favorite?
Yeah, you can go with that one.
Kyle Shanahan. Throwing a pass on first great catch on the sideline, and him falling, and then they come back and they get sacked, and then they get a holding penalty, and cost themselves a Super Bowl. I think he's learned from that. Wouldn't you say he's probably learned from that? Being that last week, 2 weeks ago, his quarterback had 77 yards passing in the NFC Championship. I think he's learned that you run whatever is working. You don't have to keep passing it just because you're a great passing team.
Yeah, I think he's definitely ensured these days as a coordinator. There's no doubt about that.
I totally agree with that. Probably as much as anybody I've seen with the way he's called the playoff games and down the stretch. Didn't they win like 5 games? Their last 5 games, 4 of them were like the last play of the game.
Yeah,
like not last drive, last play. Either they won it or lost it on the last play in regulation.
Yeah, and my favorite.
Yeah, tell me about that.
That Seahawks win over the Broncos, and it's the first play.
Drop back.
Peyton Manning fumbles the ball on a sack, goes into the end zone. It wasn't a touchdown, but it was a safety, and that's when I knew this is gonna be a good game.
You know, you talk about favorite or not so favorite. I seem to have more not so favorite. My not so favorite moment once again would be them not running Marshawn Lynch against the Patriots.
Yeah, that's gonna be
I need to reevaluate myself. I think I pull more. God, I guess I hate the Patriots more than I like any other NFL team.
I think you do.
Yeah, I really. Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. I guess I didn't realize. I knew I disliked Tom Brady, but when you start asking me memories, and the only thing I can go through my head is like Tom Brady cheated against Oklahoma when they ran out and cleaned the snow off for him. You know, and I look at all of these games and I'm like, oh man, they're all like related to hating Tom Brady and the Patriots. But anyway, that's one of my least favorites is when they I think they got cute again. Could have ran Marshawn Lynch, I think, and they win the Super Bowl. And I know you're a Seattle guy, so I'm sure you probably agree with that sentiment.
Yeah, definitely. That's the worst one. Move on to quarter number 2. Try to put that out of my memory. Go ahead. What is your favorite
Non-football.
part of the Super Bowl? Is it the food? Is it
The commercials, the
halftime show? What is it? Even the Puck Bowl. I'll even accept that.
Now they do cats, right? But,
Well, they have cats through the half.
well, that's the worst part of it. That and the halftime shows. But then my favorite part would be the commercials. I mean, I'm a marketing guy, and so I watch commercials like anyway. Like at my house, I would like rewind the TV to show commercials. So that kind of tells you, you know that I'm gonna, and that probably just gave insight into my nerdy side. But I actually do. I mean, did you see that? Like one of my favorite commercials right now, and it's been out for a while, and it's an insurance company, and I'm not going to say their name because they're a competitor, but it's where the sister gets her car and they give the car to the brother, and it says happy birthday. And he said, how am I supposed to drive it? And they said, turn the TV up. So just regular commercials get me going. Super Bowl commercials are some of the best. So that's probably non-football. That's probably my favorite part of the conversation that I talk about as much as anything.
All right, we'll do it. Quarter number 3 here will be our last Super Bowl question of the day. I gotta ask you, who do you have in the Super Bowl? 49ers or Chiefs?
This is really a tough one because I really like the way Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers play football. They remind me so much of the 92 team. They play absolutely juggernaut defense. And they have a strong offense, a solid offensive line, good running game, and a quarterback that is, I think, talented and has the ability to play at a high level, but they don't have to use him, and they don't force it. They take whatever you give them, and they play well on special teams. Kind of sound like Coach Stallings is coaching the team. So I like the 49ers as far as watching the game, but as an individual player, man, it's hard for me to say that I'm going to pull against Mahomes. So I literally have not decided yet maybe ask me at the end of the show and maybe force me to pick one or the other. I love Mahomes and the way he approaches the game, the way he plays the game. To me, he's one of these throw it all over the field guys, but he's different, and I don't know why. I think he's different. I don't know why I feel like he's different than all of the other throw it around quarterbacks. But I do like him. And the Chiefs would be a good story. Andy Reid's been a good guy, a long time in the league. 27 postseason wins without a Super Bowl, the most ever. 50 years since they've been there. So it's a Cinderella story. And so, who I think I like the 49ers, but Mahomes may be able to get enough to get it won.
All right, we'll go ahead.
What about you?
Since I'm letting you off the hook to the show, I'll save mine for the end of the show. We'll give it then.
Okay.
I will get quarter number 4 in here quickly.
Yeah.
Alabama basketball on the bubble with bracketology. They've been there, first 4 out for quite a while now. It seems like about a month.
Make the tournament.
I think we need to see how John Petty responds tomorrow. I think that's key, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the 3-point session. I think so if the experiment works. If you listen to what Nate Oates said, I think it's important how Petty responds. But he said something in his post-game interview, and you and I talked a little bit about it, and I think he confirmed that with his words. So we'll talk about that, but I say yes, but let's talk a little bit more about that 3-point shot on the other side. You listen to the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. The Taco Casa hotline is open for business, 205-342-9904. Use that to call and get in on the Stephanie's Flowers Be My Valentine promotion. Give me your score prediction. And tiebreaker is Kyra Lewis for the Arkansas win. You can post it on Facebook or you can give us a call. Taco Casa hotline open for business. Stop by Taco Casa, quality, taste, and value on the biggest cactus in town, TacoCasa.com.
Tide 100.9 traffic. From the Johnson Nissan Motor still need the sums of coverage to meet your goals and you'll save thousands of pounds in Nissan. Everything looks good on the roadways on this Friday morning. Traffic steady on 59 both directions between here and Birmingham. If you see other conditions,
Give us a call.
Southport Design is the official outfitter of the Martin Houston Show. If
You're looking for a company that can help you grow, brand, market, or
your business in Southport Design is up to the task. Call Scott Smith at 205-292-4680 to 205-292-4680, whether it's
promotional items,
corporate apparel or t-shirts for your team
members. Southmark Design. You find them online.
SouthmarkDesign.com.
Join Tide 100.9's Lake Gillespie live at R&R Cigars at 2703 6th Street in Tuscaloosa this Friday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. for the R&R Cigar Cast. Stop by and enjoy a cigar in one of their relaxing chairs while you watch the game on one of their HD TVs. Their large walk-in humidor features a variety of your favorite name brand cigars. You can also enjoy your favorite whiskey from Tuscaloosa's only whiskey bar at R&R Cigars. Relax and recharge for the Banner Game this Saturday. R&R Cigars, 2703 6th Street. A celebration with CZ Top. Saturday, June 27th in Tuscaloosa Amphitheater. Playing all their classic hits. CZ Top. Reserve seat tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. Part of the Coca-Cola Concert Series. Produced by Red Mountain Entertainment.
Jumper January, buying is made easy right here at Townsend Nissan. We have a huge selection of new 2019s that must be sold regardless of profit. With our models and Titans with up to $10,000 in instant savings, and yes, you can trade in that current vehicle regardless of condition. A new Versa starting at $14,990, new Sentra starting at $17,990, new Optimas or Rogue starting at $22,990, and all new Nissan.
Hey, I want to
Remind you guys that we actually have a great show that I'm a part of on Tuesday nights. It is Alabama Tradition, and it comes on from 6 to 7 p.m. On Tuesdays. Want to invite you to come be a part of that show as well. Ryan Fowler of The Game and myself, we host that. It's syndicated around the state, but you can listen to it on Tide 100.9. Also, you can follow it on Facebook. So we're building a website out and doing all of those things. So I want to invite you to make sure that you add that to your list of go-to places for sports and for Alabama football, mostly. But we'll be back, getting ready to get back into the Martin Houston Show right now. Thanks, guys. Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. Alabama One Insurance, owned by Alabama One Credit Union. Alabama One Insurance, your one source for your insurance needs. We are a full-service, independent agency. You know, I hear a lot of people, they like to shop to get the best rate. Well, what would happen if someone told you, hey, we'll do all the shopping for you, we'll take it out to 8, 10, 12 different companies based on auto, home, and even life, and we'll do all of that for you. All you need to do is give us your information. Well, that's exactly what we do at Alabama One Insurance. You give us your information, we put it into our system, we go out, we validate it, we make sure that all of your driving record is correct. You'd be amazed at how often people have things on their records that they do not know about. A wreck that's listed as an at fault that was not at fault. Speeding tickets that should be off and still on there. All those things are impacting your rates each and every day. Don't just go to a website that doesn't have a person behind it. Come see us in office, Alabama One Insurance, and we will be your agent, your professional advocate. Alabama One Insurance, 205-342-0112, 205-342-0112. That's Alabama One Insurance. We check all the boxes, and hey, we'll sit down and give you a true review and let you know what your insurance needs are, what gaps you may or may not have in your insurance solution plan. That's AlabamaOneInsurance.com or 205-342-0112. We're located at the main branch off of Veteran Memorial Parkway. All right, let's get back into it. Let's get back into that basketball conversation. You kind of ask a question right off the top, and let's dig a little deeper into that, and then we'll get specifically to the Arkansas game Bama has on tomorrow. Fletch, 3-point shot. When you look at this team, Bama has, I think they've done well. It's interesting how success can sometimes cloud what actually happens. With the players he lost, not adding anything to this team, okay? Because there's no new players on this team that wasn't on the roster last year, other than when I say no new players that he brought to the table. It was guys that you were expecting if you had Avery for the most part. But this team has played well without the guys that we thought were going to be helping from the 4 and 5 spots. But now if we don't make the tournament, we feel disappointed. So do you think that this team, do you think that they have what it takes down the stretch to get to the tournament?
Yeah, I think they definitely have what it takes. And like you said in the last segment there, how they react to the
methods that the coaching staff used against
LSU will determine whether or not that's able to come to fruition. I think that they definitely are talented enough. They've got the schedule remaining to get things done. I just think that they've got to play as a team. They've got to go out there, play hard, and make the rebounding situation. When you take another tournament of the year, they found a way to break through those, found ways to still win, but the rebounding is something you can't overcome. When the other team has 3 chances at the basket, they're going to make one. And unless they're shooting below 33%, at which point it's really not even a close game in the first place.
Right, and rebounding doesn't matter at all at that point.
Unless that's the case, you can't afford to give them that many opportunities on the offensive glass.
Yeah, and it's the key moments. The other night against LSU, the turnovers were down, but it was the timing of the turnovers. we made a couple runs early in the second half to get back in the game. Got it down from 16, 17 points down to like 9. Had the ball and turned over unforced turnovers. And that's the key. Unforced turnovers, bad passes, back to back, and all of a sudden LSU was back up. Had like a 6-0 run in 35, 40 seconds.
Yeah, it snowballed quickly every time they seemed to have momentum. LSU came right back with 7, 8 points in a row, and so you've got to stop that. You've got to be able to stop the bleeding when it comes. And I think Arkansas, this is a team. We'll get into the specifics of the game, but this is a team that's not going to lay down. They're struggling right now, but they're not going to just let you pull away with the game.
Yeah, and so let's turn our attention to the Arkansas game. Arkansas, everyone says it like it's like they're the only ones doing it, but they play small ball. They don't have any bigs. So is this a good matchup for Alabama, at least to get confidence potentially on the board, Fletch, because Arkansas doesn't have, one or two bigs that can create a mismatch for Alabama.
Yeah, I think it is a good opportunity for them. John Petty is a great rebounder from the guard position. We've seen some of the other guys who can get down there, and those guys will have their time to shine in this game, have that time to rebuild confidence on the board because, like you said,
This Arkansas team not
bigger than Alabama, something we don't say very often when
At
we
all.
talk about these teams,
Right.
but I do think that this is a great opportunity, I think, for JV and
Davis, little help.
every time he steps out on the court. I think he'll have a better game. Also, with a size advantage for once in the season, I think that he'll be able to grab those rebounds, get it out to the guards quickly, and run with it.
Is this the first game that he's played in college where he may be the big man?
Probably like Furman or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
The early stretch he had when he was awesome, which
Yeah.
is good news coming into this game.
Right, that's right.
But I think that would maybe he probably had a couple of advantages there.
Yeah, that's right. And he played like he had the advantage as well. So it'll be good for him. Maybe Galen can help us a little bit off the boards as well, contribute from a size standpoint. So let's look at this particular game. Musselman is one of those guys that you believed in from the moment I met you. You were saying, "Hey, Martin, there's a guy. This guy can flat out coach." And they've kind of been probably the surprise team, even though they've struggled the last few weeks. They still played well enough that they're in the conversation, and that we're trying to get in. They're on the way of falling out. So a win for Alabama could flip-flop the current bracketology for these two teams. But what's the biggest thing that Musselman has done there that Alabama is going to have to overcome in this game?
It's a lot of culture building, and a lot like Alabama has done. He's built a culture, and I think the difference in what you've seen early in the season,
The reason Arkansas got
out to so much hotter of a start, is just the schedule building. I mean, Alabama, we know they built one of the toughest schedules in the country, and that was the way they were going to get into the tournament. Arkansas' strategy a little bit different. They
decided, let's just go undefeated as
long as we can. Let's
build this.
culture of winning by winning.
Yeah.
And so they've been able to do that. Now these last couple of games, look, losing against Kentucky.
That's no big deal, right? If you're
usually
supposed to lose when you play Kentucky, more often than not.
when you're an SEC team.
At Mississippi State, that one you
Prefer to get, but
They're hot.
Good team. They were on a real hot streak. They're at their gym.
Yeah.
You can live with that one. It's the South Carolina one that kind of gets you. That one came down to the wire. They've now lost 3 of their last 4, but they are still 15-5 overall.
Let me ask you, which strategy would you employ if you were the coach? To win early, build confidence, and hope that you don't blow a Vanderbilt, Missouri type of loss, because that Alabama right now has no losses to be ashamed of. Their 3 losses are to the best 3 teams in the league, preseason, and if they all play up to their potential, you probably would take right now Kentucky, LSU, and Florida if you had to pick three and only three teams out of the league, and that's the three that they've lost to. So which way would you take it? I mean, would this Alabama team be sitting prettier if their schedule had been a little easier up front?
I think they'd definitely be in the tournament picture right now.
Right.
Whether that means they would have a better chance of being there at the end of the season,
Right.
That's
to
to
be determined because you never
know the impact it has down
down the stretch. Can they win games down
the stretch when they haven't played.
tough games against non-conference opponents? You never know how that's all gonna fall. But I do think if you're asking me, I take over a team I'm coaching and I have to decide which schedule I want, Arkansas's or Alabama's. I'm probably taking Arkansas.
I would too when I'm trying to develop a culture of winning. Once we've established that, if we don't get into the tournament, then we start going, okay, we need to sprinkle. And I wouldn't go. I mean, Alabama went full bore the other way. I mean, Alabama's none. Our mid-major games were like probably potentially tournament teams, and we could have gotten a couple of freebies. But I think it helped to set the culture of this team, and that's what I think that's what Nate Oates was afraid he was losing, and thus he sets Petty on the bench. He says in his post-game press conference, Fletch, my leaders weren't practicing hard. We won the last three games, but since the Auburn game, our effort and our focus and our practice has been trending down. And you and I talked about maybe that's why he did what he did. Now the question is, will it pay off? So three quick questions. Number one, what's the number one thing that Alabama has to do in this game, on or off the court, pre-game, prep game, whatever, if they're going to get this victory over Arkansas?
Well, we've talked a lot about making teams shoot
Threes. That is not what you want to do.
against Arkansas. They will happily sit behind the arc and shoot threes all game if you'll let them. Isaiah Joe, one of the most intriguing players I've watched in quite some time. He usually only makes his three-point attempts. If you let him
Get into the lane, he actually probably is going to
make less of those attempts than he will from behind the arc. It's incredible
to watch.
But you want to make them drive, make them get into the lane, go up against Javian Davis, go up against Galen Smith,
And Alex Reese, who's become a defensive player in the past couple weeks.
that no one thought he was. Make them go into bigger bodies and take contested shots.
All right, shot number two was the second thing that Alabama has to do.
Alabama's they've got to find out who they are. And we know who they are, but can they be that?
Can they go out and execute?
Everything that Nate Oates wants them to be? Can they put it all together, and can John Petty rebound from that experience and come out and have a great game today or tomorrow?
Okay. And last but not least, what's the third thing that Alabama has to do if they're going to get the victory?
I think the third thing that they have to do is
To just roll with the punches. This Arkansas
team, because they shoot threes,
because they are willing to fly up and down the court.
with you play small ball, they're going to go on a hot streak. They're going to hit a few in a row, and it's going to turn the momentum of that game at some point. You got to be able to overcome that, flip the momentum back to your side, get the crowd behind you, go out there and finish it.
All right. One last question, bonus question for you here. Witt, let me see, Jimmy Witt Jr. He doesn't shoot threes. He's an anomaly. I mean, everybody else on their team shoots three. He's like they're averaging almost 15 points a game. But if I'm not mistaken, the guy has taken only a couple threes or no threes. At one point in the season, deep into the season, he had taken no threes. Is that still the case?
He doesn't take as many as the rest of the team, that's for sure. And you look at Witt and the way he plays, it's interesting how perfectly he actually fits the system despite his lack of shooting.
Right.
Because he goes out there, they're whipping the ball around, moving on the court. Well, now, if you aren't aware as a defender, hey, this is the guy I'm guarding and this is what he's going to do, you can get sucked out to that three-point line, boom, he's right past you to the rim.
Yeah,
There's nobody clogging up the lane.
Yeah, and I think it was against Kentucky. They were, or maybe it was South Carolina. I can't remember. They were like, hey, hey, this guy still has a mid-range shot, like one of the few guys in the whole nation. So, who you got winning, Alabama, Arkansas?
I got Alabama. I think it'll be close, but I think it'll be more than one possession. I'll call it 5 or 6.
All right. Hey, I got one more question. We'll get it on the other side that one of our listeners wanted to ask. So we'll ask that question. I'll get your thoughts on it as well. You listen to the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. Dreamland Barbecue, Dreamland BBQ ain't nothing like them nowhere. Go check them out. Get them to cater your upcoming tailgate party or your what do you call it when it's basketball? Indoor party? Couch gating party. They'll bring those ribs right to you, or you can go dine in, carry out, whichever way you want it. That's dreamlandbbq.com, or stop by one of the local locations, Tuscaloosa, Northport, looking to serve you right here, dreamlandbbq.com.
Tide 100.9 traffic. From the Johnson Nissan Capitol, January clearance is winding down. Still need to sell some cars to meet their goals and go save thousands of pounds in Nissan. Everything looks good in the roadways on this Friday morning. Traffic steady on 2059 both directions between here and Birmingham. If you see other conditions, give us a call. I'm Captain Ray.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, it's double the regular premium package. Drop a penny and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. We're located on Skyland Boulevard, right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
Listen up, Tuscaloosa. You have a new opportunity to help Titletown's own Julio Jones set another record in his storied career. Julio needs to sell 250 new Kias and Monsters by the end of February, and he needs your help. Julio Jones will not pass on any deal being reasonable until he's reached his record. Hey, you can even double what you're getting on your own tax refund. Help Julio out and say you helped him reach a new record in his career. You can be a part of the team at the one and only Julio Jones Championship dealerships. Brand new Optimas, Sorrentos, and even the Superstar, the Kia Telluride could be yours. Stop in today and make a deal with Julio Jones Kia during this record-breaking sales event. Julio Jones Championship Dealership, located off Greensboro Avenue, just across from the Academy Sports. Visit buyfromjulio.com 24/7 or call 205-409-2651. That's 205-409-2651.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it, and Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talk, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com at peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Southmark Design, the official outfitter of the Martin Houston Show. find them online at southmarkdesign.com. They are the ones who printed out and produced the Mark the Houston show apparel that you see, and they'll do the same to you if you're trying to grow, brand, develop your business, create an image, a look that speaks to who you are and what you want to be and represent. Then Southmark Design with their graphic design team can help you. They also great with commercial printing, promotional products, and apparel, and so much more. That's Southmark Design, southmarkdesign.com. Tim Redding had a question for us. Get your thoughts on it. Has to do with Alabama following up their shots. He says, how come we don't follow our shots? I mean, I don't know if we can necessarily answer that, but is that an area that we could see that would help us from a rebounding standpoint, not from the offensive, from the defensive standpoint, but from the offensive standpoint, maybe we create some more opportunities because we shoot so many threes. And to me, a 3-point shot is so much easier to get an offensive board on if you follow your shot because it typical measurements. I mean, most shots come back if they're shot right and they go off somewhere between probably 40 to 50% back toward the shooter, unless it's just an overshot. And it's just long rebound, so to me, it creates more opportunities there.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things that go into who crashes the boards, who gets
Right.
back. Some people do it by zone, where you are on the court determines,
Right.
okay, you get back and these guys go in. Sometimes it's determined by the shooter and X person who's our best defender. They go back, these people go in. There's all kinds of different methods that different coaches use at different
points in the game and throughout the season. So I do
think that crashing the boards is good.
I don't know how
Effective it is unless it's a long rebound. We've seen this team go get some offensive rebounds when it comes off the rim long, because that's when you can get in there,
tip the ball up in the air.
get it back out to the perimeter. Your guy grabs it, now you swing it back around and reset the offense. But when you've got those interior rebounds, you're playing 4 guards. They're all out on the 3-point line.
Right.
It's difficult to get in there and get positioning on some of these bigger guys. And you also don't want to sacrifice your foul trouble by going for over the back fouls,
Right.
loose ball fouls, stuff like that. But I do think that it is important to stay aggressive on the boards on both ends of the floor, because that keeps you honest on the defensive side as well.
Yeah, what little bit I did, Coach. My philosophy, talking about philosophy. Whoever was the deepest when the ball was shot, if you weren't shooting it, you were the guy that got back to stop the fast break. Stop the dribble. I mean, that was my philosophy. If the guy makes it, if it's a 2-on-1, I don't care. Whoever has the ball, stop them. Make them make a pass or something. Don't let them dribble all the way down and then finish at the rim with the pass. Stop the dribble as soon as possible. That was kind of my philosophy. And then my other philosophy was, if you shot the ball, see it go in. Don't just of course I was playing with kids and things like that. But what I see so many times, guys shoot the ball, they take off, and the rebound comes right back to where they were at. And their guy has turned around, especially if your guy turned around to get the rebound, then you don't take off down court. But, as you say, there's different philosophies, different ways of doing it. And I didn't play a whole lot of zone. Except for when I was in, I think it was, what's the upward, where you can only play, you couldn't play zone in upward, you had to play man-to-man. So that's why I started coaching man-to-man. It's like little kids, you have to stay with your man. So you know what offense I ran, right? Pick and roll. Of course, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but if they have to stay with their man, I'm going to pick them and roll, and they can't switch and all that good stuff. So anyway, well, I digress. I told you I'm a frustrated basketball player stuck in a football body. Anyway, let's switch over to Alabama. And they had some, good news on the recruiting trail. Looks like they're going to end up the number 1 class, number 1 team in the country. And had a lot of guys come back and several other juniors come back. And we look at that and go, okay, which guy is it that's going to have the biggest impact that came back. On yesterday, I briefly mentioned that, and I thought it was interesting that one person, I think it was Curtis Lewis, said that he thought that Brian Robinson would go into the portal based on Najee Harris coming back. I don't see that, but I would not be surprised if Najee Harris's decision doesn't have effect on where some guys are played and how some guys are played in the offense. So if you start looking at who's the guy that, first of all, was the biggest surprise that they came back, you could start off on the defensive side of the ball and say, well, it's probably Dylan Moses if you started from that side of the ball based on his talent level and everything that he had. And with recent history of guys going into the pros, even though they had not played, I really thought that Dylan Moses would take off for the league and try his wares in the league and see what he could do. And he kind of surprised me. I'm really being honest with you. I was surprised that he came back, especially when you had Bosa, who was injured, but did not play, actually chose to drop out of school and just work out. So I thought Bosa would be one of those guys. Miles Jack was another guy who had a very similar situation. His knee injury was deeper into the season. He was like 2 or 3 games into his junior season, and he chose to come back and still had a huge impact in the draft. And also, I forget the linebacker, but he was a Notre Dame kid, and he got hurt in a bowl game and wasn't even healthy and went in the draft. And of course, we saw how that worked out for him. But he did fall to the second round. But Bosa was kind of the thing, and I thought Dylan Moses may be a Bosa type draft pick. So I was kind of surprised that he came back.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised as well. If for no other reason, the lack of depth at the linebacker position in this draft. When you look at the top, it's really, I mean, if you want to call Isaiah Simmons a linebacker, then he's obviously number one. But he's all over the board at different positions because we know he's so versatile. Other than that, I mean, it's Kenneth Murray.
Then it drops to probably
Guys who are at best second round grades, probably third or fourth round grades from there on.
Yeah, you may have the least number of linebackers taken in the first round in a long, long time, especially from the inside, especially in the inside linebacker position. And so that made it even more surprising. I wouldn't say we started talking about Devontae Smith early on in the season that he would be one of the guys that would come back. But then he had that great season, so you didn't know. You know, if he was one of the three, if he was going to come back, if one of them was going to come back, we were saying it was going to be Devontae Smith. And then all of a sudden, he comes out and leads the team in receiving and has this unbelievable year. So you're like, okay, does that make it more likely that he's likely to go? But I guess since we didn't think he would leave if one of the guys came back, it wasn't as surprising. And then by the time the announcements were made, I think it had become pretty obvious that he was going to come back and I think try to be the man. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him in terms of being the lead receiver, the mature guy. Is it possible, though, that could even backfire? Because Waddle, I'm telling you, Waddle is a first round waiting to happen. I mean, he is especially with the way they use slot players and everything, it's really a huge opportunity for Waddle with the way they can use him in this offense. So Najee Harris would be the other surprise because running backs just don't have a lot of mileage. And I think Travis Reier of Southern Fried Sports said it this way. He said usually you don't see a guy who is heated up. I'm paraphrasing. Heated up, you don't see them come back. And he heated up down the stretch. He got hot, and at the end of the season, he was playing as well as any running back in the country, blocking, receiving, and so he was a big surprise. Of those three, I would say that's probably the three biggest surprises. But which one of them, or will someone else have the biggest impact? You want to comment on the three surprises, or you want on the impact?
We'll move on to
Let's get to the impact on the other side of the break. You listen to the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. The Martin Houston Show on Facebook. We do it every day, Monday through Friday. We have great sponsors that you can go out and support. Go check out Tuscaloosa's dentist at TuscaloosaDentist.com. Johnson and Marshall Dentistry. They present the Johnson and Marshall Christian Moment of the Week with Scotty Hollins. Go check them out. DentistTuscaloosa.com.
Tide 100.9 traffic. From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center with the January clearance is winding down, and they should still need some support to meet their goals. So you'll save thousands at Townsend Nissan. Everything looks good on the roadways on this Friday morning. Traffic steady on 2059 both directions between here and Birmingham. If you see other conditions, give us a call. I'm Captain Ray. Good morning. With widespread absences causing schools and pickups in Lamar counties and the city's available system, Tuscaloosa area schools at the University of Alabama are urging precautions. Governor Ivey's office is discussing the possibility of purchasing a vacant private prison in Perry County because of an urgent need for prison beds. And Alabamians are traveling to Mississippi in large numbers to play that state's new lottery. Alabama lawmakers scheduled next week with a lottery in Alabama, a possibility. Don Franklin, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa. Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I partner with Stephanie Flowers for the Be My Valentine promotion. There are a lot of ways to say I love you, but no better way than flowers from Stephanie Flowers. Maybe the dance with me bouquet or always on my mind, or what about the hugs and kisses bouquet? You can also find some great selections for that Bama fan in your life, the Bama roses, Bama flowers, as well as the Bama baskets, the Bama snack tin. Find these and other great selections at StephanieFlowers.com. Make sure you don't drop the ball this Valentine and let Stephanie Flowers deliver for you. Don't wait till the last minute and order ahead by going to StephanieFlowers.com and select a date. But for those procrastinators, we also have same-day delivery. You can visit the website or call 205-345-3074. That's Stephanie Flowers. And also, stay tuned to the Martin Houston Show to know how you can win the Be My Valentine promotion.
If you need handyman work done around your home, let Hall & Sons do the work for you. They specialize in building privacy fences, excavating, pressure washing, landscaping, bush hogging, digging ditches, and driveway work. Estimates are free by calling Hall & Sons at 723-9304. Don't stress over handyman jobs around your home. Let Hall & Sons do the work for you. Call 723-9304. Call Hall & Sons, 723-9304. Let Hall & Sons do the work for you. Offers that are all available with rebates and deeper discounts. Maximum savings requires qualified trade-in and financing through dealership.
2020 Chevy.
At 2019 prices, only at Tuscaloosa Chevrolet, Central Alabama's #1 volume Chevy dealer. 2020 off-road Silverado crew cabs are up to $15,000 off. You pay the 2019 price. Pay the 2019 price for 2020 Equinoxes and Tahoes. Both up to $7,000 off. Plus Blazers up to $7,500 off. Nobody discounts Chevys like Tuscaloosa Chevrolet. It's why we stay #1. 2020s at 2019 prices. Silverado crew cabs up to $15,000 off. Equinoxes and Tahoes up to $7,000 off. And new Blazers up to $7,500 off. Find new roads to savings at Tuscaloosa Chevrolet at exit 77 on I-5920 or online at TuscaloosaChevrolet.com. Your best deal every day is at Tuscaloosa Chevrolet. Roll, Chevy, roll.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
University Oil and Facial Surgery 2-minute warning. Carson, Link, Fairbairn, and Farnham are waiting on you. They have a great team set up to help you with that free consult. 205-556-2323. What sets them apart? Their mission is to help patients live healthier lives, provide a caring, nurturing environment where your comfort and health is their primary importance. Go check them out, especially if you have some issues with wisdom teeth. There's teenagers that may be struggling. If you want to make sure that it's done right, done with care, and done professionally, it's University Oil and Facial Surgery. You can check them out at ufsdocs.com. martinhoustonShow.com. All right, let's wrap up this edition of the Martin Houston Show, talking a little bit more about who's going to be the big impact guy. And I get Curtis Lewis says the biggest surprise to him is McMillan. Talk about Joshua McMillan, his biggest surprise coming back because he won't start, has no chance at NFL, and playing time will be limited. He has been saying that since that possibility came up. I'm not totally on board with that assessment. It's going to be interesting to watch because Pete Golding said that Josh McMillan was the guy who made everybody better, which tells me that he had a great grasp on Saban's defense. And probably, and the reality of it is, he probably knew it better than everybody. Coaches, players, staff, because he's been here 5 years. So it'll be interesting to see if he has any impact. But I'm not putting him in the impact of he's going to be the guy that's going to have the biggest impact this year. Now, he could help the guy that I think potentially has the biggest impact if he brings to the table what Pete Golden said. If he's a play caller, if he's smart, if he's on the field and he can get everybody set, get it done, give Dylan Moses a chance to run around, Dylan Moses is poised to have a huge impact in an area that we think is the reason Alabama missed out on the last 2 national championships, and that's defense.
And I think Moses is definitely the home run answer here, the biggest impact guy returning, because we know how talented he is, we know how important his position is,
and how much we struggled
at that position last season. But I'm gonna go with the
1B, I guess we'll call it.
I think it's the 3 guys on the front line who could have left. You've got Landon Dickerson, Alex Leatherwood, and Deontay Brown. I think those 3 all being there for their senior seasons.
I think that'll be huge for this offensive line.
We're going to have a new quarterback back there, and so to have that safety blanket along with Najee Harris, that'll be big to have.
Yeah, I think the guys, we said the biggest surprises, but the biggest impact did not have to be one of those. Now, no, the one guy that I think could cause the biggest change of what we probably wasn't planning is the impact it has on the offense. Najee Harris coming back could have major implications on how the offense is ran. I briefly hit on it yesterday. You have Najee Harris, Brian Robinson, you have Trey Sanders, who from early reports was as good as advertised before he got hurt, which you would expect there to be a battle for him and Robinson in terms of who's going to get the carries in that second spot. If Sanders can block and do the other things that's required, then he may supplant Robinson as the backup guy. And then you have Keelan Robinson, Chase McClellan, and Roydell Williams. And I hadn't seen Chase McClellan play. I've seen Roydell Williams play. And that kid will come in and compete. I mean, I saw him one game, and this is not, Northridge is not a great team, but I saw him put up over 400 yards in the first half. Okay? I mean, the guy, and it wasn't because he was faster than everybody. He was faster and meaner than everybody. I saw him a couple times intentionally target a defensive back. Like, intentionally target the defensive back. And I think Keelan Robinson could easily be moved to a slot Reggie Bush type of position, which I think when you got Jalen Waddle and Keelan Robinson as 2 of your receiving options, when they catch the ball, it's on.
Yeah, I think that there's endless possibilities of what you could do with that backfield, that slot kind of swing pass kind of guy. Keelan Robinson could be great at that.
Yeah, and we didn't get all the way through this conversation. Let's make sure we'll go back in on Monday and maybe double down on what other impacts these returning seniors, these rising seniors, which one will have the biggest impact. Early vote from Fletch is that it could be that core of senior offensive linemen. Dylan Moses is an easy answer. But let's talk a little bit more about the impact some of the other guys can have on Monday. So please make sure you make plans to be back with us on Monday from 6 to 7 right here on the Martin Houston Show. Sanders could be that number 2 guy. he definitely showed early signs of being a great one. So we'll talk more about that as well. Remember this: trust in the Lord always, lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. Roll Tide. Who you got in the Super Bowl?
I'm going 49ers. I got NFC West pride.
I think I'm a 49ers. But will not be disappointed if Mahomie gets his Super Bowl back for Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs. Think about it. I was like 0 when they made it to the Super Bowl. So it's been a while. Anyway, stay tuned. Up next, Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry Sanderson.